All right, guys, welcome back to another day of analyzing properties in South Florida. We're going to get right started and look at the interest rates. If you guys haven't joined us this week, for the past week, the average interest rate in the United States has been sitting at 6.38%. That is right here, right? So these figures get updated every single week by the Federal Reserve. And that happens on Thursday. So as of Thursday, the average was a 6.38%. It's important because that's what we're going to be using to analyze our properties, right? There's a 4.5 there. I think that's the interest rate where we're eventually going to land once this whole thing with Iran is over, but God knows how long that's going to take. So we're going to leave it at 6.38 and be realistic because that's where we are at today. So we should analyze for today's market. With that being said, let's take a look at the statistics for Miami-Dade County. This is now the fourth day in a row that I like what I see. It's better than what it was before. We're seeing that as many houses are having price drops as are coming onto the market. And even though that sounds terrible, and you might say, well, how does that sound good? Well, that's good for buyers for sure. It's bad for sellers. But this number was actually worse. It was actually like 10% more price decreases than houses hitting the market. And so we'll have to wait and see how that is influenced by these interest rates going up. I assume, right, I predict that if interest rates continue to go up, you're going to see even more houses having a price decrease because purchasing power is going to go down. And so people are not going to be able to afford the home that they once were able to afford. Right? Investment properties like the ones that we're going to look at today are not going to make as much sense as they were if the interest rates were lower. So, we might be seeing still some of the lag from when interest rates went below 6%, perhaps, but we'll have to keep an eye on this. And that's what we do on this channel. So we could know what we're buying, what kind of market we're buying in. Okay. With that being said, we're going to take a look at 4 properties that hit the market today. We're going to come down here. We're going to say in the last 24 hours, what new multifamily properties, income producing properties have hit the market. There are 4. Let's just take a quick look at them. A duplex, a triplex, a duplex, and another triplex that we're going to be looking at today. Let's sort by price per square foot. All right. And that takes us to a $1.1 million triplex in Miami-Dade County. Let's put that up here on the board, on the calculator, 1100000. They're currently paying in taxes $12,500. Oh, not that much. Okay. Square feet, it's 1,800 square feet. It's not that big of a triplex. Okay. Do they tell us how much you're getting in rent? They're telling us that they're only collecting $3,900 in rent. Okay, which would make this a slam dunk garbage deal. So there are no pictures to be had anyway. Okay, it tells us that it's in Wynwood Park. All right, which could be a good area if that's the actual area that we're looking at. Okay, yeah, in the high growth Wynwood district. So it's in a growing area of Miami. Let's see. Capitalize on the explosive demand, one of Miami's most iconic cultural hubs, just step away from our class dining, yada, 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 yada. Okay. It's a 5-bedroom, 3-bath place. Guys, even the rents in Wynwood, right? There's so much supply of new apartments in Wynwood area. Let's say a 3-2 were to rent out for, shoot, I don't know. Let's leave that 3,900 up there just for shits and giggles. And let's say that there's another 2-1 and the 2-1 rents out for $2,500 because it's in the Wynwood, right? This property probably looks like crap just because they don't even bother to put a picture up. They're probably selling this to you guys as a land play because it's in a good area, right? It's only 7,000 square feet, I think, that they're playing with here. Let's see, yeah, 7,100 square feet. It's not a lot of space, right? But even if you could rent this out at a total of $6,400 a month, this deal is nowhere near close. It wouldn't even pay your mortgage. So for that reason, this $1.1 million duplex or triplex in Miami-Dade County is a hard pass. Go ahead and let's refine this. Let's discard this property. Let's put that up here on the screen. That was a fail. All right, next property is a 1.4 basically $1.5 million, $1.495 million triplex in Miami-Dade County. They're currently paying $16,681 a year in taxes. This is bigger. It's almost twice the size at 3,163 square feet. Okay, 3,163. There you go. And they tell us how much they're collecting in rent. They are saying that they're collecting $9,250. So right off the bat, this looks like a better deal, right? It's still not where we want it to be. So it's in the flood zone AE, which means that you're also going to be paying a little bit of a premium when it comes to your flood insurance. Let's take a look at the pictures. Okay, it's not like beautiful, but it's nice on the inside. I'll give them that. Mini splits, not a fan of those. Okay, yeah. So what do you guys think about this? Stereotypical triplex, I would say. Let's see what they say about this. Let's look at the guts of the deal. Legal triplex presents an exceptional turnkey investment opportunity, meticulously upgraded throughout. The property features modern flooring, updated kitchens and bathrooms, stainless steel appliances, impact windows, yada, 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 yada. Okay, ideally located in the heart of Allapattah. All right, if you guys know where that's at, that's a growing neighborhood, but it's not fully developed, I would say, yet. Let's say a 4.2 for $3,500. You say it has a 3.2 for $3,000 and a 2.1 for $2,650. Man, these rents are really, really high. They are, I think, estimating the highest that you could get in that area in Miami-Dade, I would say. Let's take a look at our own homework here, right? This is information that I pulled up myself. I went through all the listings in Miami-Dade County, and these are the minimums, the mediums, and the maximums that I got for each of these unit types. They say the 3.2 is renting for $3,000. Okay, that's believable. The 2.1 they say is renting for $2,650. 2.1, $2,650. Okay, maybe we could believe it. So let's say that this is actually what you could get. Again, guys, if this property makes any sense to you, you need to go out there, right? Or not out there. You need to go to your real estate agent and ask them to pull the close rents, meaning the rents that the people are actually going under contract for within a quarter mile or maybe within a couple blocks of this very property, and look for product, look for apartments that look just like this one, right? You don't want to compare this to like a luxury condo, right, where they have amenities like pools and gyms and etc., because you're not going to be able to get the same amount of money for rent as they are going to be able to, just because it's not the same product. So with all those things being said, if they are collecting this amount of rent, it's close to being a probably, like maybe let's analyze this property a little bit more, but it's definitely, like it just barely covers your mortgage if you put a 25% down payment and pull a DSCR investment loan, right? If you buy this using a 20% down loan, meaning you're putting down what, 20% of $1.5 million, right? Like 300 and almost $400,000 down. Like you're still gonna have to wait almost 8 years before you see a nickel coming out of this property in terms of cash flow. Okay, if you put 10%, if you're wait 15 years, if you were able to even buy this FHA, which you're not going to be able to because the price is too high, okay, you would wait 20 years before you ever saw a dime come out of this property. So for that reason, this property is also this $1.5 million property in the heart of Allapattah in Miami-Dade County is going to be a hard pass for us as well. Let's list that there. And let's keep going and see the other two properties that hit the market today. We're going to go ahead and discard this property here, guys. All right. Our next property is a $1.75 million duplex in Palm Beach County. All right. Man, that is crazy. Let's put that up on the calculator. $1.75 million. All right. And they're currently paying $14,850 in taxes per year. The duplex is 3,828 square feet, so it's probably a 3.2 or a 4.2 on each side. They don't tell us how much the rents are or what flood zone it's at. Let's take a look at the pictures. I think we saw this one yesterday, guys. They only put one picture, so I don't know if they relisted it today or they changed some information. But yeah, all right, so they must have changed some information because this has more than 1 day on the market as far as I'm concerned. Okay, 328. Yeah, they put it yesterday. So it hasn't quite changed, but this property was a hard pass for us, guys. If you guys want to do the homework, if you're joining us fresh today, we could look at that. All right. So they're saying that each that has 242s, right? And for one of the 42s, they're getting $3,800. So just if we put that up here, 3,800 and 3,800. Okay, it's nowhere near. This is a terrible. This would be a terrible investment property. This $1.75 million duplex in Boca Raton would eat through your cash, right? It would kill. It would kill your wealth. So stay away from this one, guys. Let's go ahead and let's get rid of this property from our list here and go down to our last property, which brings us, it's a $600,000 duplex in Miami-Dade. Let's put that up on the calculator, $599,900, right? It's in Miami-Dade. They're currently paying up here, let's see, $4,087 a year in taxes, and the duplex is 1,975 square feet. And they are telling us that they are collecting $5,000 a month in rent, okay? Flood zone AE, so you're going to pay a bit of a premium when it comes to your flood insurance here. Let's take a look at the pictures before we get into the guts of the deal. All right, it almost looks like a single family home. I'm not a fan of the yard, but so if they're already getting $5,000, this is what I think, right? If they're already getting $5,000 a month in rent, which we'll see if they are actually getting, imagine if you were able to actually put some nice grass out here, fix it up a little bit, pressure wash the sidewalk, pressure wash this entrance here. It would just look so much better, and you could probably get more rent. Jesus, it just looks like trash. I don't know why people post property up to sell looking this way. They probably don't want to get the highest and best offer. Okay, I can tell you guys, I'm pretty sure that they are estimating that these are the best rents that they could get. I don't think it's vacant, right? The pictures look like it's vacant, so there's not going to be leases saying that you can actually get this. So let's take a look at the guts of the deal. Obviously, you're going to have to put money in here to fix it up. But they say that it's an excellent income-producing property in Miami Gardens. Miami Gardens is a good area with strong cash flow and long-term equity potential. Property is currently configured as 2 units, a 4-bedroom, 2-bath main residence, and a separate 1-bedroom, 1-bath. All right, making it ideal for investors seeking income, house hacking buyers, or value-add strategies. The property is vacant. Before we go any further, guys, I want to make sure that this is actually a duplex. A lot of times people will post single family homes and try to pass them off as duplexes. So let's make sure of that. Okay, and here we go, guys. Just as I thought, this is a single family home. It looks like one, it smells like one, and damn, it sure is a single family home. All right, so this is not a duplex. You cannot operate it as the duplex, right? You cannot get FHA financing for this as the duplex, right? So for that reason, this property is a pass for us, guys. If this were a legal duplex, if you could make it a legal duplex, right, then this property would be something to seriously consider. Just because you could, look at this, guys, you would be able to get a loan on this quite easily, pulling an investor loan, an investor DSCR loan, which is a 25% down payment loan. And even if you put a 20% down payment loan, right, you would be cash flowing on day one. So you would cash flow with an investment loan, you would cash flow with a 20% down payment loan, with a 10% down payment loan, you would cash flow after 3.5 years. And with an FHA, if you could somehow get an FHA loan, you would cash flow after 6.5 years almost. Right? And now here's, before we go, guys, because this is the last property today, I want to show you guys what the difference would make, right, if you were able to get a 4.5 interest rate on this, right? Mind you, even if you bought this at 10%, and this is where it is, real estate is just so much better, leaps and bounds over, right, putting your money in the S&P 500. Right? I already told you guys all the red flags or some of the red flags are up with this property. It's listed incorrectly. Like, God knows it doesn't look great on the inside. There's, you got to fix the outside. We need to verify the rents. We got to do a couple of things that, your real estate agent could help you with in doing your due diligence. But with that being said, right, if you could actually get $5,000 a month in rent total, right, and you were to buy this using a 10% down payment loan, look at the return on your internal rate of return, which is basically like your return over 30 years, right? If you bought this using 10% down payment, 15%. You cannot beat that. I mean, if you bought cash, it would, your S&P is about 10% return every year, right? This one is doing 9.5. If you buy this using leverage, using a loan, right, that your return goes up to 13%, 15% FHA, 16.1%. If the interest rates go down, guys, look at what happens. Look how fast you're going to be able to cash flow using either 10% or FHA. If we go to a 4.5, which I think we'll go to after the war with Iran, look where things change. Everything cash flows on day one. Everything cash flows on day one, okay? Look at your return on your investment here. It would be 28.6%. You would never ever get that on the S&P 500. Cash stays the same because they're not leveraging anything, okay? But 20% down payment goes up to 16.2% return on investment. 10% goes up to 10% down payment goes up to 21, and FHA almost 30. Like, you don't get those returns by putting your money right in the S&P 500. You do it by putting it in real estate, okay? Right now, however, we are not at 4.5. We're at 6.38. Now, one thing, guys, right? Even this property that's listed incorrectly, once this property, if interest rates or when interest rates go back down, guys, because the government's going to print money. We know this, guys. The government always prints money to make times better, right? To stimulate the economy, right? So the next time that the government prints money, interest rates will go down. When they go down, this guy is not going to want $600,000 for this duplex anymore. If he hangs on to it, he's going to want $750,000 for it. So the strategy here, guys, and that's what I'm doing, I'm going out here and I'm trying to buy property today with a high interest rate, because I'm only going to be making a couple of payments with a high interest rate. As soon as those high interest rates go back down to a place that I really like, I'm going to refinance, and I'm going to keep this. Instead of a 16% return on investment, then hopefully I'm going to be sitting at a 28% return on investment. And that's for this property that doesn't even look that good. We've analyzed properties just in this last week that are way better than this. So with that being said, guys, this property for me, even though it makes some sense in terms of just the numbers, because it's incorrectly listed, there's a lot of work that needs to be done to the property. I'm going to go ahead and say that this is another hard pass for me. But if you guys wanted to actually check it out and you wanted more information about the property, hit me up. I'll be happy to send you the link, or just talk to your real estate agent and have him connect you with the seller, okay? And you could go see the property. It looks like it's vacant. So with that being said, guys, have a great Sunday. We'll see you tomorrow. See what properties come up on Monday. Monday's a great day for listings. So we'll see you then.